What to know before getting into PC gaming? In this video, we're going to explain literally everything you need to know about the platform. From getting started for the first time, differences versus console gaming, the advantages of PC gaming, and of course, the price. By the end of this video, you will be an expert on everything, I promise. So stay tuned, buckle your seatbelts, and learn everything you need to know right after a short word from this video's sponsor. The Gigabyte G5 is the gaming laptop for those that want to play the latest games without spending an arm and a leg. Packing the latest RTX 40 series graphics, the Gigabyte G5 is ready for jaw-dropping ray tracing and frame rate boosting DLSS 3. Learn more about this 144Hz gaming beast today with the link down below. So then, let's get started. Well, fun facts. A gaming PC technically doesn't actually exist. It is literally just a computer, but it's one that has more powerful components than your average off-the-shelf PC. It'll have a significantly faster graphics chip, and usually a much beefier processor too. The key is to understand exactly which components you need to make your PC great for gaming. But before we get there, what does great gaming on PC actually look like, and ultimately why should you bother in the first place? Well, put simply, it's because PC gaming is just so flexible, it can literally be whatever you want it to be. You get plenty of benefits over console gaming, such as cheaper games in the first place, free consistent online gaming, backwards compatibility that spans decades, support for mouse and keyboard, ultra-wide support, and of course, ultra-level graphics settings that will blow the pants, even off the mighty Xbox Series X. I'm not here to lie to you though. PC gaming currently has one major flaw that makes console gaming a lot more accessible, and that's the price. Because currently, the cost of entry into the PC gaming ecosystem is kind of ridiculously high. It is a sad, sad time really. Off-putting at best and a movable barrier at worst. And it's all caused by the great GPU crisis of 2020. I'll tell you what, I'll be a good lad and I'll spare you some time and give you the short version. Essentially, in a nutshell, during 2020, the demand for PC gaming was ridiculous. It went through the roof as everyone was at home and they wanted new graphics cards to be able to play their games. Unfortunately, the actual production of these chips went down because there were delays with manufacturing, and it created this sort of ecosystem where people were selling graphics cards for really high prices. And while it has improved, because there isn't really any scalping anymore, if you buy this card, you can pretty much get it at the RRP. It's the actual RRP of the cards that has also gone up when your companies like your Nvidia, AMD, and to a lesser extent Intel now realize that people are actually willing to pay a lot of money for graphics cards, and regardless of why it is, I'm not going to go into that in this video, you now have graphics cards like the RTX 4080 and 4090 that cost over $1,000. And where are the budget cards that cost $150? And of course, the whole thing is just so silly because you need a graphics card. It's really important to understand how all of this works. A better graphics card will give you more GPU horsepower in your video games and thus increase your frame rates and allow you to use higher quality settings. And if you take pretty much nothing else away from this video, I would say it's to understand how frame rate works from your gaming PC, because it's not necessarily harder than a console, but there's more control over it that you have. So I guess there's more ways for you to get it wrong potentially. But imagine that you have your gaming PC. This is my personal rig here. You can find that video in the top right corner of your screen if you want to learn more about it. Essentially, a gaming PC is determined, or how good it is, I should say, is determined by how many FPS actually comes out of the back of this thing, goes into your TV or your monitor, and thus how smooth your game actually feels. As with traditional games consoles, the bare minimum for a smooth and playable experience is 30 frames per second, but if you ask any real PC gamer, they'll tell you they're looking for at least 60 where possible. High frame rates are at their most important in multiplayer games, as it directly reduces the time taken from you seeing an enemy, you clicking that fire button, and then something actually happening on screen. Frame rate can genuinely determine the winner or loser in any given game. You can even go above 60 frames a second into the world of high refresh screens, and to be honest, a lot of high-end TVs currently sit at 120 frames a second, and PC monitors have been doing this for literally decades at this point. Maybe not decades, decade. And unbelievably, you can actually buy a monitor right now that does 500 Hz. That's 500 frames per second. PC gaming sometimes is wild. There's also screen resolution to think about, as if you want to play at 1080p HD, then gaming is going to be a lot cheaper, as it's much easier to drive a smaller amount of pixels, whereas gaming at 4K essentially needs 4 times the horsepower to get the same frame rate. And this is why it is absolutely critical to make sure you're buying the right graphics card for you. It doesn't have to be the biggest or the most expensive, it just has to be able to play the games you actually want to play at the right frame rate and the right resolution in order to give you that perfect experience. In fact, me being Mr. Helpful, I've actually made a video that explains all of this in much greater detail with full gameplay benchmarks so you can see all of the different GPUs. If you want to learn more, just hit the card in the top right corner of your screen. But okay, let's not get too technical here. We know about graphics cards, we get it, Centric. What about everything else? I say it's the quickfire round time. Can I think of a quickfire joke? What do you get if you cross an elephant with a fish? Swimming trunks. A PC is made up of a platform of components of which you will need a motherboard, you can think of this like the chassis of a car, a processor or the drivetrain of your vehicle, a power supply, which is almost like the fuel for your engine. No. Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Get it out of here. This isn't a nerdy car video, this is a nerdy PC video. As I was saying, a power supply that keeps your PC juiced up, an SSD that's used to store all of your games and files, and then RAM, which is used as a fast memory store for all of your open applications. Of course, you'll also be needing a case that can be as big or as small as you like. And of course, these always come with different pros and cons, but generally speaking, the larger it is, the more you can fit, the better the airflow will be, the more physical weight and space it will take up. And price. Small cases, usually cheaper, less material. Big brain move, that. And almost surprisingly, prices are actually generally quite good on PC parts at the moment, especially RAM and SSDs. It's really only graphics cards and maybe to a lesser extent some high-end cases that are raising the price of PC gaming up right now. If you do want to see a list of loads of different PC builds, by the way, at different price points, just hit my Amazon store link down in the description below to see full lists and pricing. And at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, that actually doesn't sound too bad, that's doable, but what about building it? That's quite scary. I'm not sure if I can do that. How difficult is it? And the answer is generally not very at all. I think at this point I'm somewhere between 300 and 400 gaming PCs at this point, and yes, they can be a little bit annoying to build sometimes, but genuinely they're anything but difficult. All you need is a couple of screwdrivers, a desk or table with some good lighting, and you're away. And there's a really cool little YouTube channel out there called PC Centric that has you covered with endless amounts of guides on its channel, and there's now even live builds that you can join along in progress and ask any questions, or watch the archive so you can see every single step of the process without any editing at all. And of course, don't forget, you can always get someone to build it for you, whether that's a friend, or you can go online to a system builder, or maybe even buy like a pre-build from someone like Acer, MSI, anything like that. They're also fantastic options. Just be aware that if you get a system integrator to do it, it'll probably cost you a fair bit of money because you're paying for their time. But then also some of the components on pre-builds can sometimes be a bit meh. So do a lot of research before buying anything that is pre-built. To be fair, I probably should elaborate on that. That's a little bit too brief. Essentially, if you're buying from a system integrator, all of the components they use should be off the shelf, which is fantastic. But sometimes they might use a motherboard that's a little bit too cheap, or a power supply that isn't great for upgrading. Or if you do go for a proper pre-built from like your Acers, your HPs, any of those, not specifically, but sometimes they use proprietary components that makes upgrading it either very difficult or impossible. So that's what you need to check. Is that specific enough? My job here is done. Oh, don't walk into that. So fantastic, we've got your system sorted, hooray! And once you do have your PC to hand, you then want to install a copy of Windows 11 if you built it yourself. This is very easy to do from the online website. Yes, you will have to buy a license key, but these are available from third parties, a little bit cheaper as well. And something I don't really think I've actually spoken about on the channel before is just how satisfying it is to have your own gaming PC. If you've got a pre-build, it's great, but if you have built it yourself, the satisfaction of knowing that you've wired everything in and it's working is just fantastic. But other than that, it is pretty much just a normal computer, but it's a normal computer that will boot really quickly, open applications super quick. It'll be the best computer you've ever had. And trust me, that is a satisfying experience. Once you have got everything set up and you've landed in the Windows desktop, you will need to make sure that you get your graphics card drivers installed and updated, as Windows will give you a really old one by default, and all new games that come out will usually work a whole lot better with the latest set. It's super simple, just go to your NVIDIA, AMD or Intel graphics card website and then download and install them, and that's it. You're set. You're ready. Ready to start at least? of course you're going to need some actual games. And admittedly, this bit is a fair bit more finicky than it is on console, as you have different games in different places. In addition to grabbing Discord for all of your friend communications, you'll be able to download a program called Steam for most of your games, but then you have EA Launcher for EA games, Battle.net for Warzone, Epic for Fortnite. Yeah, it's a right pain in the ask me how to get the most out of the games themselves, and the answer will be to tune your settings. Consoles usually have a performance and quality mode, whereas PC on average probably has about 100 combinations of settings to choose from. Pretty wild. But as a general rule, I would say have your render resolution set to match your screen resolution, your textures and view distance set as high as your VRAM will allow, and then tweak the other settings from medium to high until you're happy with the frame rate. You also want to turn on the dynamic scalers, aka AMD FSR, NVIDIA DLSS, or Intel XeSS, probably to the quality setting, to obtain some free performance. I aim for 60 FPS plus for single player, and about 120 in multiplayer. And that's it! Hopefully, a very easy to follow guide to PC gaming. If there's anything else you want to know, I assure you there are loads and loads of guides over on PC Centric, so get subscribed if you're not already. Leave a like, but if there's something that you want answered now, just leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer it. Like, why does your PC go off mid-video? It's because it's got a sleep timer of 20 minutes. But seriously, a massive thank you for watching this video. I really do hope that it's been useful for you. And of course, if you do want to check out current pricing on anything featured in my personal rig or any of the other builds, you can find those all linked down below with my Amazon affiliate links. And while you're down there, why not check out Gigabyte's G5 gaming laptop? The G5 packs a 144Hz display into a solid, sturdy laptop body with up to a 12-core Intel processor and an RTX 4060 graphics card. No matter whether you're wanting multiplayer action or ray trace DLSS 3 immersion, the G5 is the laptop you've been waiting for. It even comes with a 2-year warranty. Grab yours today with the link down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one.